Hello all, I am Mr. Flamingo, and today I have to hit my quota. First and foremost, WWE Bad Blood came and went over this past weekend, which saw the opening event being CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in Hell in a Cell, and that was probably the highlight of the entire PLE, as McIntyre and CM Punk had a blood feud, and WWE delivered on that concept because Hell in a Cell featured a bit of blood. Some of it intentional, some of it probably not, as Drew McIntyre had his head split open and needed 16 staples to shut it closed after the event, but man, was it something else. The three middle matches of Bayley versus Nia Jax, Damian Priest versus Finn Balor, and Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan with Dominic Mysterio hanging up in a shark cage were all fine. Ripley and Morgan saw the return of Raquel Rodriguez. Damian Priest and Finn Balor put on a very good match, but a good match in terms of like the main event of a WWE Raw versus a featured card on a 5-card PLE. And Jax versus Bayley was just pretty good because they're good wrestlers. But I mean, nothing I could entirely write home about. The main event saw Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns versus the Bloodline of Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, and that was okay. But the highlight of all of that was the very end when The Rock shows up, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's The Rock. So Bad Blood looked to be a PLE that purely served as an end for McIntyre and CM Punk, as well as a return for The Rock. Everything else on that card didn't entirely matter. Next up on Hitting My Quota, the Penguin episode 3, aptly titled Bliss, has come and gone, and while I personally believe it's not the strongest of the opening 3 episodes of the Penguin, I must say it was still very good television. Colin Farrell still does a great job, but today the focus was on Victor, the character of Victor, and where he comes from and what he wants to do. And I thought that was really fun. I like to watch the progressive evolution of Victor and seeing him kind of go down as Oz goes up, while Oz starts to look at Victor, and as they described it at the end in their little post-show talk from producers and stars and stuff, Oz starts to see Victor as like a familial bond. Victor starts to see Oz as like this opportunity to make a name for himself. Spoilers. So the thing is, in this episode, Victor has the chance to leave and go with his girlfriend and start a new life over in California, and he approaches Oz about this, and Oz does not take that too kindly, but he lets him go. And Victor goes to the bus station, and he looks, and he doesn't get out. He doesn't get out of the car. He goes back. He goes back for Oz, who is thrilled to see him. He's like, my boy, my guy, you're back. And I thought that was really fun. I like to see their dynamic. I think they have a good dynamic. My favorite part of this show so far is to watch Oz be this like twisted kind of mentor to Victor and treat him like how he has been treated allegedly by the higher-ups of the Falcone family, and just see this progression, and I thought that was really good. Next episode looks to be more centered around Sophia Falcone in flashbacks, with the debut of Mark Strong taking over from John Turturro as Carmine Falcone in the flashbacks. Looks like it's going to be a good time. Last up on Hitting My Quota, Superman and Lois made its 2-episode premiere for the season yesterday, and wow, what a premiere. When they announced the final season of Superman and Lois, it came with budget cuts, and the ending of season 3 was the showdown between Doomsday and Superman, so it left me wondering, well, if you don't have as much money, how are you supposed to deliver on Superman versus Doomsday? But it did deliver. Episode 1, the end and the beginning, sees what is essentially a fight between the final showdown between Doomsday and Superman, yes, but as seen through glimpses And you think, well, that's not that interesting, but what it provides is a chance to watch as Lois Lane is rectifying with the fact that her husband, Superman, is somewhere out there in desperate danger. But through a series of flashbacks, you see how good of a man Clark Kent is, and it's leading the viewer in to think, man, all of them believe that Superman can't be stopped. He gets through anything, and it starts to make the viewer believe, well, this is just another day at the office. Superman can get through anything. And then spoilers, he doesn't. The end of the episode sees Luthor deliver on his promise at the end of season 3. Doomsday returns to Earth, Superman in hand. Superman has died. And to rub salt in the wound, season 3, Luthor's final shot, I think, was him declaring when he's dead, Doomsday brings him his heart. And he does. They didn't show it, of course, but Superman's got a massive hole in his chest, and Doomsday presents Lex Luthor with Superman's heart. The second episode of the double premiere is focused on that heart and that hope that the heart gives, because the Fortress of Solitude basically goes, you know what? There's a chance that he doesn't even have a heart. If you can get his heart, who knows? But that's the thing. With Superman dead, tensions are high. His boys both think, you know what, I can get the heart. On separate accounts, they both go for it. And you know what, it's all just spoilers. Luthor crushes the heart. And you're like, oh, he's here for the kill today. It is very, very interesting and a very, very, surprisingly investing watch to watch this Luthor be no holds barred. He's going for the kill for everybody. He's take no prisoners. And it's really, really interesting. There's one scene I want to speak about specific that I really liked from A World Without, and that is Luthor forces Lois to choose which son lives through this really sick telephone game where it's press 1 for Jordan, press 2 for Jonathan, or vice versa. And she does. You don't see who she picks, but at the very last second she picks, and you're like, ooh, man. Anyways, that's all.